Okay, so here is the PowerPoint for tonight. There's two small ones, and then we will begin drafting. Okay, so we had our first taste of wall baking, and one of the walls, which is not really a wall, could be a glass wall too. You could work with glazing fixtures, and if you will work with a lot of these when you start doing commercial work. We learned 3 ways to place the wall object, and we learned how to select it from our architecture wall, and then just use the wall as a drawing tool, more or less. You skip the lines, you're going to draw with the wall, at least for that, to get the wall. The wall is the host for everything. It's where everything starts. So you need the wall in order to place a door and a window. You can't just place a door and a window. They won't appear. We can also create a wall with sweeps and reveals. So we can get curved wall, we can get a jagged kind of wall. We'll learn how to use join geometry, cut geometry, and wall joints. And this comes into play when you might have 2 different types of walls. You might draw a wall, and it might be actually, when you closely inspect it, there might be a line saying that it's not one complete wall, it's 2 halves joined together. For the parametrics to work, you need to have everything joined because it reads all that data. We can do cuts, and we can pull out joints. We can modify vertically compound walls and create a profile for a wall sweep. Create a compound wall with a sweep command, and then we can modify end caps and insert conditions. So if you have a wall that extends beyond a joint, you need to close it off, right? You can't have it exposed to have the innards shown. We can modify end caps and insert conditions and create embedded walls. Let's get our Revit going. Pull up a Revit file. Use a different kind of wall. This will help me a little bit better. I can do and it also tells you what it'll do if you hold on to the cursor button. Let's get out of this and go look at the cursor button. Okay, so getting that drop-down menu, if you wanted to do and get more information, this one is creates a non-structural wall. In the building model, use the type selector to specify the type of walls to create. And then there's a structural wall too that you could put in there if you're going to do loads. And right now, it doesn't matter to you what you use, but in the future, when we start getting better, we can do that. Wall by face, other things that you can do to separate wall. And then also, this is very important. Like I just said, you can also have it offset. This is important too, this little chain button, because if this is not selected, let's not select it, and I draw a wall, chain is off, and I make a wall, and then I turn the corner and expect it to follow me, it'll be off, and I'll have to make the wall one step at a time, which is probably a pain. And it's also a pain because sometimes the joints don't work. So keep chain selected for the most part. And there's the accident again. If I'm not in modify, I keep on drawing, right? I never leave my command until if I have the last thing current. Okay, let's see what else we have as we explore. Let's explore some of these properties. Okay. So here is the top constraint, and we're going to be talking about this. I'm just introducing it for the first time now. You can tell you snap to these corners. If you snap here, it's going to be on the ground. If you snap something up here, it's going to start at that level because it's referring to its last point. What else do you do when you start a wall? Okay, so you choose the properties of a wall. You can change the wall type. We've talked about that. We can draw to this face. We can draft from center line, which is most typical, but in some cases, especially interior walls, we might want to do face of wall. or if we're drafting other things, we might want to do a face of wall to the next face of wall. Here it's connected to a level, and most of the time it comes out unconnected. But if you wanted to connect it to a certain level, you can indicate on the dial. You could also indicate the height. It comes in with a generic height. This one looks like it's 20 feet. Shows you a little icon picture of the wall that you've chosen. And you can always import walls also from the vendors and makers of certain kind of wall systems. We do a linear wall, topic for the future. You can place it. Here's the tools we're going to use tonight. You can import different things that can go onto the wall, and you also get the name of the wall as far as its line type. And you can modify, you can place the wall toolbar to make a modify. There is your modifies. You can always come in and change. This is that the green line that was right underneath when you choose wall. You get this. You can always change all of this stuff. So if you started off with wall center line and you found out you're doing something else, you can go to finish face. But be aware that when you change an existing drawing, things can happen because change in one place changes something in another place and you may not be aware of it. Remember that the house button will save you. It's the 3D view. And if you click that, it goes back to an isometric standard view. So what we're creating today are flat 2D surfaces. So when we do bound it with a wall, we'll get the wall to arrive. But because our furniture is not 3D, it's going to stay flat. But that's okay because what we want to do is create a floor plan. You have options on the lower bar. Along the bar, you could set the scale to be printed. You could also have this handy tool, which is the shadows off and on. And the shadow, it kind of gives you, I don't know what it really does for you, except to give you that nice rendered elevation view. But maybe it also helps you to determine how high walls are where you could start to enclose space. Okay, that concludes the first one.